Good afternoon, dear students. This is Abdurrahman Dawi with another quick video to explain to you how to solve the previous test questions. The first problem was asking you to solve the equation that you see in front of you. When I mean solve, it means that I need to know x should be equal to what. So basically, you are making everything in one side while everything else on the other side. The first thing that you need to do is to do the first step by subtracting minus 3 from both sides. So that's going to be equal to 4x plus 3, and you're gonna minus 3 from both sides. Remember that everything that you do to one side, you do it to the other side from the equal sign. So it's going to be 11 minus 3, and that's going to be referring to 4x. And remember, the minus 3 and the plus 3, they cancel each other, so it's going to be equal to 11 minus 3, which is going to be equal to 8. Now what is left is to do the other operation is by dividing 4 on both sides. So you can cancel the 4 that you see here, and the x is going to be left by itself on one side. So you're going to divide by 4 both sides, and the 2 4s, they're going to cancel each other. So you end up by having x equal to 8 over 4, and when you simplify 8 and 4, you're going to end up by having 2. So the answer is that x equal 2. Now let's go to the other problem. It said make x the subject of the formula. When I say make x subject, it's the same thing of saying solve the problem, because it's asking you to make x equal to everything else in the equation or the formula. When I say formula is the same thing as saying equation. Okay, so don't get confused by the terminology. Formula, equation, they have the same meaning. Now let's start by doing it. First of all, it's y equal 4x squared minus 2. The first thing that you need to remove, of course, is the minus 2. And how you do that? By adding 2 to both sides. Okay. So the first thing you're gonna happen is gonna do y plus 2 equal to 4x squared minus 2 plus 2. The minus 2 and the plus 2, they cancel each other, and you're gonna have the expression as this. Yeah, so y is gonna be equal, y plus 2 is going to be equal to 4x squared. Now what is left is to try to get rid of the 4 that you see here, so the x squared stays by itself. How do we do that? By dividing both sides by 4. So it's going to be equal to, just a second, so the expression is going to be y plus 2, all of it divided by 4, equal to 4x squared divided by 4. The 4 here is going to cancel the 4, and you end up by having this expression. Now I'm going to organize it. You're going to have y plus, I'm going to change the color so you don't confuse, y plus 2 divided by 4 equal to x squared. Now what I need you to do is to do a simple thing, is to mirror the equation. What is the meaning mirroring? Making what is left on the right side and what is on the left side to be on the opposite side. So it's the same thing as saying x squared equal y plus 2 equal 4. It's a simple request, okay? Just swap the sides. So you have x to the left side and you don't get confused, because this is the request. When it says makes x subject, he wants x to be on the left side. So you basically you are rearranging your equation, making the left side on the right, making the right side on the left. It's not mathematical operation, it's a matter of order, because they are still equal to each other. We just change the sides, okay? Now what is left? Most of you did it until this point, reached this point, but after that they stopped. They didn't know what to do with x squared. The x squared, to do it, to get rid of any x squared, remember, to remove any x squared, if you have x squared equal to 4, the operation that you need to do is to make square root of both sides. You take the square root of both sides, so it becomes square root of x squared equals square root of 4. This is example, by the way. I'm explaining what you need to do. And when you have the square root of something that is squared, it basically becomes x. So what I mean that the square root remove the square sign, and what is left is x. We've talking about that. We covered that in a previous very old question lesson, but it seems that you forgot. So make sure that you revise all the linked information. And x is going to be equal to square root of 4, which means that it's going to be equal to plus negative 2. This is the step that you're missing in your question when you try to solve it. I don't remember that one of you, I think there is one or two students solved it. So you're going to take the square root of both sides. So you're going to take the square root of x square equal the square root of y plus 2 over 4. It means that the answer now is going to be x. It means x because we said that the square root is going to cancel they can cancel each other, and what is left is x. Now the square root of y plus 2 over 4. Y, you cannot find the square root of y, you cannot find the square root of 2, but you can find the square root of 4. Because the square root of 4, we know that the square root of 4 is equal to 2. And remember, 4 here is the denominator, so it's going to be a fraction when you're trying to do the square root of that. So what do I mean by that? It means that the answer is going to become what? It's going to become half. What is the meaning of half? I'm going to explain it in another way. It's going to be equal to y square root of y plus 2, and we are taking the 4 outside because it becomes 2. Remember, I'm going to explain it in another way so you don't get confused. This is similar to saying square root of y plus 2 over square root of 4. Okay, we are dividing the denominator with the fraction so you don't get confused. So it's going to be equal to what? It's going to be equal to the square root of y plus 2 over 2. It means that the final answer, x, is going to be equal to square root of y plus 2 over 2. Okay, and that's the final answer. The next question is asking you to write 5 over to the power of minus 3 as a fraction. You have a very big famous rule about indices that you forgot. It says that if you have a with the power of minus m, it can become equal to 1 over a to the power of m. So when you apply this rule, you will discover that 5 to the power of minus 3, it could be expressed as a fraction. Remember, he asked you to do it as a fraction. 1 over 5 to the power of 3. Some of you did it to this step and stopped. But you need to simplify the 5 to the power of 1, because 5 to the power of 1 is actually means that 5 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 5. And when you do that, you will discover that the answer is 1 over 124. This is the answer. This is as simple as you can write it. The second question, or the next question, is asking you to factorize completely. We said that when we have this form, we don't have the bx. It means that the equation that you see in front of you doesn't have 3 terms. It could be like this. We studied that it could be, but we don't have the x here in the equation. And we say that this is referred to, the method of factorizing this is by, it's called the difference of 2 squares. It's in your notebook. How you can factorize it? We say that step number 1, you create 2 big squares or brackets. Step number 2, we said that you look at the first term and you try to find the square root of it. The square root of 4p squared, which is equal to 2p. And you put that number, you put 2 copies of it, one of them at the beginning of this and one of them at the other one. Okay, now this is step number 2, is by making square root of 4p squared, which is equal to 2p. Step number 3 is to look at minus 9 here, or actually the 9 itself. Forget about the minus, it's not important. And you need to find its square root, the square root of 9. And the square root of 9, as you know, it could be plus 3 or it could be negative 3 from our study. So the square root of 9, it could be plus 3 or negative 3. So you take one of them, you take plus 3 and you put it here, and you take the negative 3 and you put it here. And this is your final answer. This is how you factorize completely for this question. Next, this is also about factorizing. This one is using a method that we've learned about making two brackets here. Try to make two brackets. So your expression is going to be equal to what? 2x, sorry, I'm going to use different color. 2ax minus 4bx, close bracket, plus. This is one of the mistakes that you did. Sometimes you confuse the minus with the plus. Plus, you put everything, the minus ay plus 2by inside of the bracket. Now you try to deal with each bracket by itself. You try to factorize it step by step. You factorize this one at the beginning. So when you factorize it, you have 2 and you have x outside of the bracket. And what is left inside of the bracket is going to be equal to a minus 2b, close the bracket, plus. Now you're going to factorize this one. Now how you can factorize it? There is a common factor of minus, so it's going to be, this sign is going to become minus because you're taking the minus outside, so it's going to become minus, and the only common factor between them is the y. A is not a common factor and 2 is not a common factor, so it's going to be minus y, open bracket, is going to be equal to a, because it's not negative anymore, but this one is going to become minus because when you multiply it with minus, it's going to become plus. So it's going to be a minus 2b. Now when you look at these two, now this is step number 1. Step number 2, you look at these two squares, you notice that they are the same, right? So you're going to use them to factorize what is left. So you're going to write it first, you're going to write this bracket, the a minus 2b, and you're going to factorize it because both of them, they are multiplied in 2x and minus y. You open a bracket, you'll say that this square here could be factorized. It's multiplied in 2x, this one minus y. Revise this lesson and you will notice that we covered it. It's not easy to you to do it, but this is how you factorize when you have 4 terms. So this is when you factorize completely, this is the final answer for this question. The last question now is asking you to find x of the expression that you see in front of you. It said that you have a rectangle, and this rectangle has a length. The length is equal to x plus 6, and the width is equal to 5 centimeters. So it means that all of x plus 6 is also centimeter. And he said that the area, it means that all of that is equal to 85 centimeters square. And he wants to find x. Since, guys, you are dealing with area, you need to remember the rule of the area of the rectangle. So the area of rectangle, you remember that it's equal to length multiplied by the width, right? And your length, as you can see, it's equal to x plus 6 multiplied in what? Multiplied in the width, which is 5. Now try to rearrange the equation so you can factorize at your rest. Just flip them, okay? Flip the side. So you can factorize from left side as you learn to do it. You factorize. And remember, all of that is equal to what? Because this is area, right? All of that is equal to 85. So now you factorize, you will discover that 5x plus 30, you multiply 5 by 6 equal to 30 equal to 85. It means that now what do you need to do? You need to subtract 3 from both sides, so the x left by itself. So the expression is going to be x5 plus 3 minus 30 equal to 85 minus 30. You're trying to do minus 3 from both sides so you can have x becoming subject because you're trying to solve the equation. Minus 3 minus 30 plus 30 is going to remove each other. So you're gonna end up by having 5x equal to 85 minus 30 is gonna be equal to 55. Now what is left, the last step is to divide both sides by 5. So you can make x the subject, means that x is gonna be equal to 55 over 5. When you divide them, you're gonna equal to x. So the final answer, x equal to 11. I hope that this video was informative for you. Take care, have a lovely weekend. Try to learn from your mistakes so you do better in the next exam, inshallah. Take care.